Hi everyone and welcome. This is Lisa. Thank you for joining me today for another video tutorial. Today we're going to be making a peekaboo card. These have been around for a while, but they're really cute and fun to make. When I saw the 2018 holiday catalog and this stamp set in it called Trick or Tweet, I thought it was absolutely adorable and perfect for a peekaboo card. I know that my grandchildren will love these. How they work is it looks like a typical 5.5 by 4.25 card, and then when you open it in the window it changes. In my case I put the sentiment in the window, but you can put whatever you'd like in the window. Okay, we're going to need a couple of things. The first is we're going to need 2 circle dies, one slightly larger than the other. And we're going to need a bone folder and some heavyweight cardstock. I'm using Whisper White Thick for this. So we have 3 pieces here, and I've put some sticky note on there just to help me keep myself together and oriented. If you want to put with a pencil, FBI or whatever on there, it might be helpful to you. So the first piece that we're going to work on is the front of the card. It measures 4.25 by 8.25, and we're going to score it at 2.75 inches. Now don't worry about writing these down. They'll be on my blog as usual. Just enjoy the video. So as you can see, that looks like a typical 4.25 by 5.5 card with the back chopped off. Okay, this is the inside piece, and it measures 4.25 by 8.5 inches. And we're going to score this at 4.25 inches. And what this is going to result in is a square little note card. Okay, this is the last piece and the back side. It measures 4.25 inches by 5.75 inches, and we're going to score it at 5.5. Now this is going to create a tiny little flap, and that's what we're looking for. As you can see, it's just a little tiny piece, but it's an important piece. So now we have all of our scoring finished, and we're going to take our bone folder and reinforce all of these score lines. I'm moving my little sticky note over because I've got it too close to that flap. I'll eventually remove these. So as I'm reinforcing these folds here, especially the one with the tiny flap, you really want to make sure that one is reinforced well, because it does hold the inside of the card together. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the smaller of the 2 dies. We're going to set the larger die aside, and we're going to begin making our window in the cards. So we're going to be making 3 windows. And this is not difficult at all. First, we need to decide where on our card we want to put the window. It needs to be on the right hand side someplace. It doesn't matter where, but it needs to be on the right hand side so you don't run into that chopped off half flap in the back that we saw when we first did it, or when we first cut it. So this is where I'm putting mine. You don't have to use a circle. You can use a square or whatever shape you'd like. Okay, now that I've ran this through my Big Shot, I'm going to keep that circle die that I've cut out there. Now I'm going to bring in my 4.25 by 4.25 piece, or the inside piece, and I'm going to line it up well with the edge of the front of the card. As you can see, I have that lined up perfectly, and that's important. So what I'm going to do is bring in a pencil, and I'm going to trace that circle onto the piece of cardstock behind it, which is the 4.25 by 4.25 note card. I hope this is all making sense. Okay, so there I have that traced. And I'm going to take that circle that I cut out from the first piece and I'm going to place it right on top of where I've traced. That way I know that it will be in the same position as it was on the front piece of the on the front of the card. So I'm going to run that through my Big Shot, and it doesn't cut all the way quite through. It's pretty thick, but it did cut almost all the way through. No big deal. All I'm going to do is use the indentation of where the die has partially cut. I'm going to just slip my die right in there, and with the card open, I'm going to run that back through my Big Shot. And this will result in 3 perfectly aligned circles. So when the card goes together, they're all aligned perfectly. I think I just said that. I did just say that. Excuse me for repeating myself. Okay, next we're going to take the larger of the 2 circles and some pumpkin pie cardstock, and we're going to cut 2. And you can use, of course, whatever color you'd like. Now I'm stamping the sentiments. The one says "You're spooktacular" and the other one says "I'm Betty for you." Or it doesn't say "I'm," it just says "Betty for you." Okay, so here we go with this little flap. Now I'm reinforcing it just one more time. What we're going to do is we're going to attach that flap to the back side of the 4 and a quarter by 4 and a quarter note card. So I'm putting some glue down the edge of it's such a very small space. I'm using my small tip bottle of glue. I'm putting it down the entire side. Now I'm taking my note card and I'm lining it up, and I'm going to bump the camera in a second with my head because I need to get right over top and make sure that I have that aligned well. And I had a little glue ooze out, but that's okay. And now I'm going to place something heavy over it for just a few minutes while it dries. Okay, now that it's dry, this is what we have. It looks a little like a Z-fold. So there's the back flap attached to that 4 and a quarter by 4 and a quarter piece. And next we're going to put adhesive all over the front of that and attach the front part of the card. And I overshot my adhesive, which is not uncommon for me. Usually I can remove snail with my finger, but today it's going to give me a little grief, so I'll get out my trusty adhesive eraser and get that right off of there. No problem whatsoever. Okay, while that glue was drying, I went ahead and decorated the front of the card. So now I'm going to line that up perfectly. There I go with my head hitting the camera again so that I can see the top of it. I apologize for that. So I'm lining that up even. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that's adhered well to the front. Okay, so this is what we have now. Our card is completely put together except that we need to put those sentiments in the windows. And that's easy to do, and I'll show you in just a moment how to do that. But first let me show you how it works. So I'm showing you all the parts of the card is what I'm attempting to do here. So you take that flap, that half chopped off part there, and you just slide it in right behind that 4 and a quarter by 4 and a quarter inside piece. And as you can see there, the paper is sliding as you open and close the card in the window. Okay, so you're going to want to take the circle that you want to show on the front of the card first. So in this case, I'm taking the one that says Your Spooktacular, and I'm going to apply some glue to the back of it. I could have used the bigger bottle for this part, but I already had that out, so that's what we're going with. And I just want to be sure that I have it lined up in the window correctly and straight. So I'm kind of peeking from the other side, getting it just where I want. And then I'm going to hold on to that with one finger, flip it back over, and then I'm going to take the back side of the card and just push it down. And making sure that adheres really well. Okay, so see, there it is. Okay, next we're going to put the one that shows when you open the card. In this case, this is the one that says Batty for You. And I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to add some glue to the back of it. I seem to be having a case of the dropsies here for some reason. So you can see where that goes. That flap will catch on that edge of that circle die in the back, but I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to fix that. So here I am putting the adhesive on the back. And I do recommend using glue for this so that you can wiggle it around and move it to where you want it. Now I'm sliding it into that pouch between the two pieces of cardstock. And you just have to slide it in like that. And this way, since we have glue, we can wiggle it around and make sure that it's straight. This might be more important if you have a character or something stamped in there that you absolutely need straight. So, all right, so here we have this problem with it sliding, or it won't slide, it catches. So all we're going to do is just take some Scotch tape and put that down. And now when we open and close the card, it's going to slide right over. See? No problem whatsoever. And unfortunately, I put too much tape there on the side, so I went ahead and fixed that. And I decorated the inside, so this is our completed card. Isn't it cute? I just love these little guys. And I used the DSP that's also in the 2018 holiday catalog, and I think it's called Toil and Trouble. I can't remember right now. I should have written it down. And this is the first card that I made. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for spending time with me, and happy crafting.